morning, good afternoon, and good evening, viewers. Welcome once more to another scene in Requiem for London. Our scene begins as the car hastily pulls up outside of the bookshop Treadwells. A figure emerges from the driver's side and tosses a pair of keys to the passenger. He takes a moment to look to make sure that this is the shop before not taking a deep breath, but very possibly wanting to. Maybe heading inside, maybe not. Unfortunately, viewers, this is not the individual we shall be focusing on this scene, but the passenger, one Chester Hill, a passenger in his own car, as it was almost stolen right underneath his nose by the driver, one Mikey Reed. Chester doesn't waste any time more than he has to. He knows who the owner of Treadwells is, and he knows very well how the owner of Treadwells feels about him and his reputation. So he hurries out of the passenger side and into the driver's side. The car starts up again and speeds off into the night. Take it away, Mr. Hill.
Chester drives off to somewhere where he can see St. Paul's Cathedral from afar. He knows not to get close to this place. He knows this place to be quite dangerous for his kind. And he drives there quite, not in a haste manner, but still a bit faster than most cars drive around. And once he gets there, he stops his car and looks at St. Paul's Cathedral. He tries to think back on his days as a child very different than any other. He had a childhood that was a lot different from, well, anyone could have. He was brought up to be a hunter from as long as he can remember. He looks at St. Paul's Cathedral and tries to get his memories back. It's been a long time since he has hunted his own kind. Ben?
Chester is able to find a decent spot where he can look over the church. Almost close enough to touch, as it were, but after the events at the Hilton, he has decided to err on the side of caution. You can see several people going to and fro. It is not yet that late in the night. You can also see several people around the premises. Nothing stands out to you at the moment. It makes sense that it wouldn't. The one you hunt specifically would be aware that you would know some of the hunters of Great Britain. The ones he probably brought with him are people you're unfamiliar with.
Chester is still confused about how to go about going after the hunters, but he knows he wants to go after them. He wants to get his blood doll back. Now that he thinks about it, he realizes that Sam has grown to be much more than just a blood doll. For the first time, he is really feeling the weakness of his clan, of the Deva. He realizes how much he is it love? Is it just a very deep lust? He's not sure, but he's feeling like he can't live without her. He needs her back.
As
He
no, please continue.
he looks at the cathedral, feeling hate for what the hunters are doing, for what his father is doing to him, what his father has done to him. He looks and stares at the cathedral when he realizes a where a single tear of blood is pouring down his face. He quickly wipes it away as he continues staring at the at Saint Paul's.
At this point, will you please give me, let's see here, this is directed to the other storyteller this evening, a dice roll of 6, if you will. No, 5. 5 is the roll.
So is this David?
Yeah, this is for David.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, how many dice again? 6,
No, 5.
5. Okay. Ooh. 2.
All right. Continue on then, as he catches himself, as he cries these tears of blood. So many emotions going through Chester Hill this night. Perhaps it is the anger, maybe even hatred at his father. Perhaps it is something else, something that he saw in that hunter's eyes, that hatred at him, at what he's become, that look that he has never before seen from a mortal. Perhaps it is the situation he finds himself in, city all thinking him a base criminal. Whatever the reason, Chester, would you please give me a wits plus composure -2?
Okay, let me.
No, scratch that. -3.
-2.
Minus
So,
3, actually.
-3. Okay. One success.
Hmm. As you are caught in thought, you get the feeling that you are being watched. Your senses, your expanded senses by the blood that pulses through your undying body. It stretches out beyond what normal mortals can sense. You can feel eyes on the back of your head. As you turn to look around, though, you don't really see many people out. There are but several cars on the road, people walking to and fro, some of them in conversation, others quickly walking home for the evening, or perhaps to the pub. There are some beggars here or there, most of them settling down in places where they are sheltered from the wind. You sense that these eyes that are upon you are not coming from the church, however, but from some street corner alleyway. It's hard to gauge, but somebody is watching you. That much you can sense, or at least you suspect. These kinds of feelings you've learned over the years to go with instinctively. Call it a gut feeling that has never gone away from your previous job.
Chester sits there for a while. He looks out. He takes his head outside the window and looks around.
In that
And
case, no, please continue.
yeah, no, well, yeah, he smiles and looks around, tries to see if he can spot someone.
All right, in that case, this is going to be a true contested roll, so please give me a wits plus composure, and David, please give me, we'll say 5 dice.
Okay, 5 dice. Boom.
Nope, I have no success.
This
Oh
is
my.
a possible exceptional. Hold on 1 second. One more dice. No, just a normal success.
For the life of you, you cannot tell. You do not see anyone who is obviously looking at you. You don't detect anyone who might be able to perceive you from their periphery. You've done a very good job of secluding this car away. Perhaps this feeling is wrong. Perhaps you've been out of the hunt for so long. Ever since you were embraced into the noble clan Deva, the prey, as it were, has come easily for you. All you have to do is smile and people throw themselves at you, necks bare for your kiss, even before they realize that your kiss was that of addiction, enthrallment, rapture, maybe. And they keep coming back again, again, again. Perhaps you are out of practice. Perhaps this feeling of yours was wrong.
Chester will actually get out of his car, and he won't go too far. He'll just put his hand in his pockets and look around, have a better look around now that he's out without going out too far, too far away from his car. And yeah, he'll look around, smile, and if this doesn't involve a roll, he'll just slowly get back in his car, smile. He might stay there for a minute or two, and then drive away. Pretend to drive away, but actually just drive around the block.
First things first, the unknown watcher is going to make a roll of his own. Let me just look it up real fast, though. Almost there. There we go. This is going to be, David, another 5 dice, if you would.
Okay. God, I'm on fire tonight.
Oh no, oh no, oh dear, oh dear.
So another 2 dice for the exploding. Just a normal success, not an exceptional.
Well, that is
Damn you, David!
So I'm wasting my rolls. I shouldn't be rolling for this. Oh well.
As Chester is walking around outside, looking around, he doesn't see the person circling him. The man in tattered clothes and Actually, no, he wouldn't be in that right now. He would be dressed as he was earlier this
Oh, he's in
night.
his car. Just is in. He got back in his car. He's pretending to drive
Ah,
away,
this
driving in
is
the.
when you went outside. This is what
Oh,
happened
okay.
during that. You don't see the individual, a man in the attire of a priest, cleanly shaven, looking you over the same way that one Mike Tucker looked you over, the same way one Diedrich Graves looked you over, with eyes with the bestial sense peering into your very soul, as it were, picking up hints here and there of your true nature. And since that is 4 successes, uh, what clan are you? Are you kindred? What clan are you? What covenant are you? And why are you? Yeah. So he will learn 4 facts for those 4 successes, but they will be muddled. But as Chester goes back to enter the car, a voice will come out from behind him. It will say, "Are you lost, child?"
He was smile goes, I am not. I know my way around.
Then why
And
have you come here?
he'll turn around.
And you will see a man, cleanly shaven, in the attire of a priest. He was not there before. You did not sense him. It is though he just appeared out of nowhere. There was no footfalls, there was no scent. Like a ghost almost. But you do not hear a heartbeat coming from within his chest, even though he feigns the blush of life. He says, "This is the second time I have met one of the blood around the church. It has become quite popular these past few nights."
He'll smile. He says, really? Who was the other?
My dear, dear friend, if it is an answer you want, then you must answer one of my questions in return.
He'll smile goes, throw away your question.
What is your name, dear friend?
I he'll answer quite frankly. He'll just say, I'm Chester. I would have thought you. Okay, yeah, no, he'll just yeah. He'll just say, I'm Chester. It seems more and more people actually know me. I'm surprised you don't.
As he will say, "I have heard about someone named Chester. There are many rumors fluttering about these past few nights on the cacophony and in the halls of Elysium. But I had not thought to meet the infamous Chester Hill in person. But you answered my question. I will answer yours. The other one I met, he did not really give a name, but I learned very recently that his name was Mikey. He is very new to this night. He came here much like all of those who were recently embraced, seeking answers. But he did not have the courage to walk the steps and into the cathedral."
Killsmonger's Mickey or Eddie?
So he will tilt his head a little bit and said, "I learned his name was Mickey. I have no idea who this Eddie you are referring to. Another lost soul? No, don't answer that. It is unnecessary." And as he's talking to you, It's you know that look before it's the look of someone who's testing you right now. Someone who's trying to gauge you, as it were. As he slowly begins to walk around you, his hands are behind his back, his eyes are on yours.
He'll look at him and goes, "You meet Mickey then. I hope you walked. I hope you still had your wallet after your meeting."
He'll raise an eyebrow and say, "You're familiar with young Mikey."
He goes, "Yes. I just met him earlier tonight."
Hmm. As he smiles, you can give me a wits plus empathy at this minus, I'd say, yeah, probably 2 dice.
Yep, it's a dice roll. It's a chance roll. Chance dice.
Right?
Nope.
Oh, in that case, he just looks you over and says, "I do hope he did not cause too much trouble. He is headstrong and does not listen to advice when given. Hopefully it is a trait you do not share."
Because he did seem like someone that was still confused about what he was. And he smiles at him and goes, "I hope he'll find his way around. If he does, I'll be glad to help him do this."
Actually, you sort of got choppy there for a second. What was that?
He'll say, he did seem one to still be confused about what he has become. I hope he finds his way around. I hope he finds someone to guide him. I'll be glad to help if he does.
That is always good to hear. Everyone needs guidance in their requiem at least once or twice. That is the burden of our condition. But enough about that. I have another question for you.
Chester just smiles at him, waiting for the question.
Who, oh, who is hunting the hunters, Chester Hill?
So what was that?
He basically said, "Who, oh, who is hunting the hunters?"
He'll smile again and goes, "I have my reasons to look after them, to look for them."
Hmm. That is not an answer, Chester Hill.
And goes, "Well, I'm hunting them. It seems the good thing to do to get rid of people who are trying to kill us."
Okay, you sort of broke up again. What was that?
He says it in goes, I am on the I am hunting them. It seems like the good thing to do to fight back against the ones who are trying to kill us.
Hmm. He looks over your words. He doesn't smile. He doesn't change his expression. He still just continues to look at you as he slowly walks circles around you. He will then hold out his hand and say, "Your question now."
What is your name?
"Why, it is Samuel. I am the watcher of the cathedral."
And he'll watch St. Paul's Cathedral, and he'll say, This cathedral?
That is correct. But that's 2 questions, which means you now have to answer 2 of mine. Oh, 1 of mine.
Yeah, Chester smiles and goes, yes, one of yours.
This one will be more philosophical, but consider it my gift to you, Chester Hill. After all, it is very rare to run into kindred around the cathedral. Who shows more hubris? The flock, who turns against the shepherd that would guide it, knowing very well that they are wolves who walk like men, or the wolves themselves in their pride, for thinking that they can get the herd to bow down so easily and without struggle.
He thinks, guys, I'm not sure the flock and the wolves can be judged as a group, even when it comes to their hubris. I think it comes to individuals.
Oh, but is that not the height of hubris, though? To think that any one individual can judge another, to claim the right that only God has. After
He'll
all,
say,
both are granted weapons by our Lord. Then who one individual can truly claim that they speak on his behalf?
guys, if you are going to judge someone, if you are going to speak on their behalf, uh, it should be someone that you know yourself, someone that you have spent quite an amount of time with. You cannot judge someone you met even a few times. You need to live with them and, in a way, start to think like them after a while.
He smiles for the first time. You don't know whether or not this answer amused him or pleased him, unless you want to roll another wits plus empathy.
Minus dice again.
I will say only a -1 this time.
Wits plus empathy. But he doesn't have empathy. I think so. It's still a minus. Yeah, so it's just one dice. That's a normal one. It's not a chance.
All right.
Nope. So thank God it was a chance dice. That would be a
Oh,
critical
yes,
fail.
yes, that would have been very bad, but luckily it has not, so you are just uncertain. As he will say, you show a lot of promise, Chester Hill. I do sincerely hope that you survive the coming nights. If you ever need shelter from those who understand, come seek me out. For very soon we might be the last who would harbor one such as yourself. For we understand greatly the particular prey you hunt. With that, he'll just hold out a piece of paper that he pulls out of his pocket. It's nothing fancy. It almost looks like a scrap of trash, actually, but written down is just an address and a phone number on it. There's no names or anything to it.
He'll take it, look at it, and fold it and put it back in his pocket, making sure it's well in there and not just falling, not somewhere where it could fall out. And goes, why, thank you. Guidance is something that any kindred, any well, he doesn't. He won't say no. He won't say kindred. He'll say is something any of us of our law society needs from time to time.
With that, the
And
individual will bow his head and say, "Happy hunting, Chester Hill."
he'll smile and goes, thank you, and happy the cathedral watching. And he'll
He
smile
will
and he'll get back in his car.
he will smile. Again, this time you can tell that he's amused by that joke. We'll go to turn around, but then stop, and then sort of turn on his heels and goes, "Oh, and one last thing. In particular guidance. I was given this by someone I highly respect, and I want to pass it on to you. I fear that it might be more pertinent than you realize." And with that, he'll just sort of walk to the door, sort of lean his head down. Is the window down?
Yeah, well, yeah, he'll put the window down when he sees him coming.
In that case, he'll just lean down and he will say something to you, not in the whisper, but close. He will just simply say, "Fear the darkness." And with that, he will raise his head again, and bow, and turn around and walk back into the night.
Chester will stare at where the man disappeared for a few seconds and then drive away.
Is there any particular place in mind Chester has for where he is driving?
He won't stop there, but he'll drive by at what he knows to be one of all the watering hole, what the hunters call a watering hole. But he'll just drive by.
In that case, give me a wits plus composure as you drive by.
1, 2, 3, 3 successes.
In that case, as you do a cursory examination with your heightened senses, you're able to see farther, you're able to get a decent look inside. It looks like the place is relatively dead, which is strange because it's about this time of night that a place like this should be more crowded. You get the sinking suspicion that that hunter you encountered at the Hilton might have already began to spread the word, and a lot of the watering holes are going to be emptied as the hunters go to ground. This might get a little more difficult than you had originally imagined. But it is not impossible. And as you continue to drive off into the night, any last words?
He then drives off to the um the Chance Club.
And as you walk down the familiar tunnel into the very multicolored darkness of Shunt, already filled with the throbbing bodies of people, several strange art exhibits, and somewhere off in the distance the mad laughing or perhaps crying of the owner of the place. It is here, as Chester walks alone, even in a crowd of people, that we end this particular scene. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful night.